Hello and welcome to The Round So Far, brought to you by Amy. I'm Riley Beveridge. This is Kane Cornes. Kane, we've got plenty to get through tonight. Let's start at the MCG with the big story where Melbourne resigned Geelong to its first loss of the season thanks to this absolutely sensational Bailey Fritsch goal.
Yeah, Geelong turned it over. The ball went back inside forward 50 and Fritsch out of nowhere kicked that one for the Steeler. They hold on by 8 points. We'll have another look at that, but it was amazing how inaccurate they were. 5-14 up until three-quarter time. They kicked 5 straight in the last quarter to seal a really impressive hard-fought win of the G.
You mentioned that, how inaccurate they were, but their kicking in the final quarter was fantastic. That's what got them over the line. We'll see some of the big moments here. It seemed like Geelong was always chasing the game and Melbourne was in control and ended up proving that way on the scoreboard.
No doubt about that. No team kicked a goal in the second term. It was hard work, but just how strong Melbourne are defensively. These are some of the last quarter moments. Cozzy Pickett didn't have a huge night, but had some crucial moments. Windsor there, this tackle. He's a first-year player that has absolutely arrived, and he went back and kicked this. And didn't he love it? He's pumped up, and he says, let's go to his teammates, and off they go. And then this one from Guthrie. He took 6 intercept marks tonight. I thought he was Geelong's best player, one of the best players on the ground. And that kept them in touch. He was huge, but they just couldn't do it enough, Geelong, and without a contribution from Hawkins and Cameron, Melbourne were too good. You can see the score there. So hard to play against defensively.
Yep.
Geelong 118 points last week, 66 tonight, and that's just purely down to how well Melbourne defended.
One of the best players on the ground in that final term was their captain, Max Gawn. He had a really good night across the board, but in the last quarter, 9 disposals, 4 clearances and a goal.
Yeah, had to go off for a long period of time because he got a head knock. They checked him out, and thank goodness for Melbourne, he was good to go and come back on. But they got a huge issue in ruck, Geelong. A lot of these clips you're seeing against Reece Stanley. He was monstered last week against Pitnet, Stanley. Conway there being very patient with the young ruckman, but you can see it here pushing forward on Stanley. And you called this. You said he's going to go back and launch it, and launch it he did. But as you said, 9 disposals in the last quarter. 8 hit-outs he had, I think, and just set up everything because Geelong had no answers for him. So, look, he's well on his way to his 7th All-Australian, you would think, and going to go down as one of, if not the greatest ruckman we've ever seen.
That match-saving mark in the last quarter as well. You mentioned it before, but Tom Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron held goalless collectively for the second time in 3 weeks. Cameron in particular was well marshalled by Tom McDonald.
Yeah, he did a great job, Tom McDonald, which allowed Lever and May to do this. They had huge nights, Lever and May, both of them. So Lever was enormous, but Hawkins is about as badly out of form as he's been across the whole of his career. So hasn't kicked a goal in 4 weeks and just not been able to move as freely as he would like, and is frustrated clearly and wasn't able to have an influence tonight. Great spoil from McDonald there. He was enormous on Cameron. The first team probably this year that's really combated the new tactic of Cameron getting up the ground and playing on the wing and going behind the ball and then trying to get a mismatch forward of centre. He had his opportunities, it must be said.
Have a look at these two.
4 score involvements in the last quarter, but his kicking absolutely deserted him, Jeremy Cameron. So it's been a long time since I've seen him kick the ball that poorly. So for them to be that close without a contribution from Cameron and Hawkins, I mean, they can take some positives out of that, the Cats.
They certainly can. Let's head to the SCG now, where Sydney won the Sydney Derby against the Giants. But there was a flashpoint late in the third quarter. You can see the score there, 2-goal game, 30 seconds to go. The Giants give away a 6-6-6 free kick. You'll see Adam Kingsley's reaction soon, but Tom Papley ends up going and converting a goal from it. It virtually takes the game as a contest away from the Giants. Adam Kingsley's absolutely filthy on the bench. Now, I think what happened here was Callum Brown came onto the field. Generally, when an interchange rotation comes onto the field, they deliver the message in terms of who's meant to go higher up the ground and leave the forward line. That's Darcy Jones on this occasion. You're about to see Darcy Jones highlighted. Callum Brown just walks straight past him, though, and doesn't give him the message. And by the time Darcy Jones gets to the wing, it's too late.
Yeah, be frustrated, Adam Kingsley, because that's the reason you're on the interchange bench for moments like this. That's the one advantage you get. Now, you lose some things because you can't see the ground as well and you don't have all the access to the vision and the stats, but the communication with your players is why you are there. And it's been a good move for him. We saw how frustrated Adam Kingsley was probably in the first 6 games of his coaching career. He got the stress ball out, you remember. Since then, he's been reasonably calm, but just the last 3 or 4 weeks has been signs of frustration there. And he said you had one job, and you can see that, and that one job was to go to the right position after the goal was kicked. But huge goal from Papley with 30 seconds to go in the third.
Errol Goulden wins his 2nd Brett Kirk medal as best on ground in the Sydney Derby. 29 disposals, 6 score involvements and 5 clearances.
27 Brownlow votes last year. Now, it's all been about Heaney this year, and Heaney was good again today. But if you leave him alone like that, does my head in that the best players, and we'll get to Daicos shortly, do not get any attention. If you're going to leave him and do this, this is what you'll get, even in tough conditions. He stood out today. So you want to allow him 15 metres of space to kick the ball inside 50 under no pressure. It's going to cost you a goal every time. So is any Giants player going anywhere near Errol Goulden? Is anyone bumper barring him? Is anyone making life difficult? Or are you allowing him to run freely like he's done in the first 3 or 4 years of his career? He's still only 21. 27 Brownlow votes. He's won his second Brett Kirk medal. And, yeah, what a star of the competition he is.
He certainly is. Now, atrocious conditions throughout the first half of this one, so it became a bit of a contested game. It's something that suited the Giants all year, but they were, I think it was minus 26 ultimately in contested ball across the course of this one. We'll see the stat graph come up here. Minus 18 in contested ball. So their 2 losses this year have been the only times where they've lost the contested ball. The other one was against St Kilda, but you'll remember they only won by a point in that game.
Yeah, and look, so they conceded the last 6 goals of that game. So beat the Giants at contested footy, win the game. But Sydney got them off turnover as well. So that would be the concerning thing for Adam Kingsley. Beaten up at contested, beaten at ground ball, smashed at clearance, and then beaten off turnover as well, which has been such a strength of the Giants. So they're not going that well, the Giants. So the last 3 weeks haven't been that great. They had the big win over Sydney, of course, but over Brisbane, of course. But other than that, there's been a patch of form that would be slightly concerning for who were the premiership favourites leading into this round.
A couple of MRO worries for the Giants as well heading into next week's clash with the Bombers. So Toby Green just gives a little one to Jake Lloyd off the plate here. I think he'll be fine. We've seen guys like Scott Pendlebury get away with that this year.
Fine.
So, yeah, I don't think he gets a suspension for that. But I think Callum Brown is looking at a suspension for this bump on Tom McCartan. A lot of remorse afterwards, but this day and age, he just can't do that.
He knew straight away. You can see it. He's shattered in himself for doing that. You know, there's clearly some thought that he didn't mean to do it, but unfortunately, if you go to bump, if you go to brace, you get the opposition high, they go off concussed and don't come back onto the ground, you're looking at 3+. So that'll start at 3. Does it go to 4? Can they argue the force and all of that? That will be played out this week, but that one, unfortunately, for Brown starts at 3.
Yeah, I reckon he's looking at 3 or 4, Callum Brown. Let's head west to Optus Stadium now, where Essendon just hung on against West Coast, a 6-point win following a thrilling final quarter.
So these are some of the last quarter moments. West Coast are really competitive. The only thing they were beaten badly in was tackles. So it was about plus 20 tackles for Essendon. They'll be disappointed with that. Waterman kicked another 3. What a season he is having. And this moment here is absolutely crucial in the last quarter. Waterman takes another contested mark. You'll see Cripps just off the side here as he's about to line up for goal. He drops his opponent. About as undisciplined a move as you can make. You'll see it again here in slow-mo. It's Martin. And that is reversed, and instead of Waterman going back and kicking a goal, it is reversed. And that one was to keep the Eagles in touch. And they had a moment from centre bounce where Kelly won the last centre bounce, but in the end, Essendon were too good to hang on in a tight one. You can see the relief from Merritt after the draw on Anzac round last week.
And Zach Merritt was just about the best player on the ground. He wins our Saturday Star, 29 disposals, 3 goals and 6 score involvements. He's having some season, the Bombers captain.
Yeah, he's only kicked 10+ goals once, and that was in his first year, a long, long time ago. So he's already got 6 this year. This is what the best midfielders are doing. They're not only getting a stack of the footy, which he has done, he's been really good defensively. If he can start doing this, like to have 6 goals and 3 match-defining goals, including that one, he's pretty clever around goals, isn't he? So if he can, you know, kick a career best tally for goals, then he's really going to start to emerge as one of the best midfielders in the competition. We're talking sort of top 5 sort of stuff. He's already one of the best, but leading from the front, that moment there, he takes the uncontested mark with 40 seconds to go. He knew exactly what to do, milk the clock, and you saw the relief on his face that the Bombers have started the season really strongly.
A disappointing end as well to Elliot Yeo's 200th game. So he's only played 45 games in the last 5 seasons. Elliot Yeo came off with a groin injury. He's been in some great form.
Yeah, what a shame, because he's got that power back. So we know he's had the osteitis pubis, he's had the groin stuff, and he's been, you know, hampered by injury for probably the best part of 2 to 3 years. So to see him back has been one of the highlights, I reckon, for the year. He was in All-Australian form and has been a real driver for the Eagles. So fingers crossed, that one's not too bad.
Let's get to our moment of the round now, and it came on Friday night when Nick Daicos kicked this match winner deep into the game against the old rivals Carlton. He's a little genius, isn't he?
Yeah, it is. We'll have a look at what the Blues stuffed up in a minute. But the lesson here is for any young midfielder watching is stay on the move. Like, he's never stationary. And when you are on the move, you can hit the contest with momentum. So we might have a look at just the positioning of Chera here from the wing position. You need to be protecting. The moment you get sucked in here from Chera and he fumbles the footy, you are gone. And then Sam Walsh, you've got to realise your opposition. Yes, Sam Walsh has been outstanding this year. Inside defensive 50, you've allowed Nick Daicos, the most dangerous player on the ground, a free run. He got goal side. And this one here, that's Hewitt and Newman there, which he just shrugs off. But that's all about the movement and his ability with the low centre of gravity just to shrug off opponents. But his last quarter was enormous, and he just reminded everyone, with a bit of the Harley Reid talk and a few other youngsters emerging in the competition, that he's still the man.
It was just a bit of a gamble from both players in the Walsh and Daicos moment. Both of them gambled that they win possession. Daicos ends up getting a goal
but one's
forward.
inside their own forward 50.
Yeah.
So if you're going to gamble, the best place to do that is on the edge of your 50. Whereas for Walsh, he's got to understand who he's on and the position of the ground and the time of the game and what he's up against. So to lose touch of his direct opponent there, you pay the maximum price, and that's a win.
A couple of unsung heroes getting the job done for the Pies. Lockie Sullivan, the 26-year-old, came in for his first game and kicked a goal with his first kick. And Harvey Harrison, who played a handful of games last year, but he's come into this side in the last few weeks and he's proving a pretty important player for them.
Yeah, no doubt. And they had some big moments, didn't they? So we'll see the first goal here. How good. You can see we've got the interchange bench. They loved it. With Sullivan there, they're all getting around him. Look at Nick Daicos, the react. I love seeing that from Nick.
Yeah.
I love the team first attitude that he plays with. He was just as happy for that goal as he was with his own. But last week I sat up here and was worried about the Collingwood 30 pluses. So to get some leg speed and some enthusiasm, some defensive pressure into the lineup, I thought it was really important. So DeGoey and Mitchell don't play. When those announcements were made, I was like, well, there's no chance Collingwood can win this game of footy. But the injection of a bit of youth, I know Sullivan's 26, but enthusiasm and speed, which Collingwood have probably been lacking just a little bit this year.
It was an interesting moment halfway through the third term involving Carlton coach Michael Voss on the bench. Now, he's having this conversation with Adam Chera. He clearly says, go forward, go forward. A lot of frustration down there on the bench, similar to Adam Kingsley, what we saw before. But then as soon as they did that, which this came moments later, a couple of goals.
No, straight away. So they were mucking around with the footy. They were handballing backwards. Collingwood did a pretty good job defensively. They always bring big heat, which does force the handball. But you see that from Walsh. You got Curnow and Mackay on your side, and you're up against Moore and Frampton and Howe. Like, what an advantage that is. You also got DeConing down there. So then they went forward and they got it deep, and they exposed those Collingwood defenders who lacked size, and they pounded on a couple of goals in a row. It was good coaching from Michael Voss, but in the end, probably came too late.
Massive game for the Blues next Thursday night against the in-form Demons. Let's get to our Amy Clangers now. Who covers Clangers? Amy does. Big night for Nick Daicos. Big night for his dad as well, Peter Daicos. I absolutely loved that. You said this during the week.
What's happening? He got swooped by the magpie, and then he's going, what's going on? So doing some filming here, Darcy Moore, and then just in the background, you'll see the light pole. Right, you wouldn't believe this. It's going to crash into his car. It's unbelievable. Like, so, bad turn of events there for Darcy Moore, and the damage there is significant. So, hopefully he gets that one fixed up.
What about my man Disco Turner?
What's he doing
caught
here?
a ball here. He's just fallen over his own feet.
There's a pothole. Replace your divots on the
Disco,
Taylor
he was
Swift.
good
Replace
last
your
week,
divots
but
on
he
the
won't forget that
MCG.
one.
And Harry Jones, mate, do you know who I am? Yeah, I'm a player. I'm allowed to go to the dressing room to go to the toilet, if that's okay with the security guard.
All right, let's get to Marvel Stadium now, where St Kilda got the job done against North Melbourne. They won by 38 points. Wasn't the prettiest match, but Darcy Wilson, their first-year player, he's an absolute star. And when there was a few skill errors, he was the one that sort of...
Can he win the Rising Star?
Well, he's played every game this year, and he's been a performer in every single game, so why not?
I loved his ability to, that's another string to his bow. He went forward and showed that he's really capable above his head, finished.
Kicked 3 goals.
Absolute running machine as well, and he was really important in the back stages of quarters. So look at this. So absolutely he can win the Rising Stars. Wide open. There's a long way to go in the season, and this contest, you got to love that. Like, Wardlaw was enormous. We'll get to him in a tick, but look at this contest from both players. Wardlaw is actually really fortunate that he didn't get him high, otherwise he would have been missing for 3 weeks. But Wilson was hurt, got straight back up, wanted to come off. They said, no, you stay on the ground. He did that and was one of the Saints' better players today.
It was Jimmy Webster's first game back, a 7-match suspension for that bump on North Melbourne's Jai Simpkin in pre-season. He happened to make his return game against the Kangaroos. He turned it over early, and there was a bit of back and forth between him and Jaisinka. He got booed all the way through the game.
He did, and then the Saints supporters started to cheer him. He's reasonably played pretty well, Jimmy Webster, but the Saints were dominant across the board, plus 25 entries, 8 in clearance, 15-0 tackles inside 50. So North's effort was better, but you look on the stat sheet and you go, they didn't have a tackle inside 50, not one. So you'd want to address that. I'm not sure why Toby Pink was a sub. That's one of the more bizarre decisions I've seen Alistair Clarkson make in recent times, or any coach really. A key defender as your sub, and then he came on in the last quarter and went forward. Make sense of that if you can. But all in all, their effort was better. North Melbourne, at least they were in the game, and thought George Wardlaw led from the front. He was enormous.
You've spoken a couple of times this season around Max King in St Kilda's forward line. Now, every key forward that's played against North Melbourne this year has had an absolute day out. So you have a look, goals and score involvements. Max King only 1 goal, 2 score involvements, only had 4 or 5 touches.
What a missed opportunity for Max. I spoke about this on Monday night. You think he comes back into the side, you're playing against North Melbourne, who have no key defenders. So he's up against Aiden Core. I mean, he's probably got 10, 12 centimetres on Core, and that was the return. So he's 23 now. Max, he's been in the system for a long time. He gets paid a stack of money, and if the Saints want to get to where they think they should be going, they need more from him, because he was really poor. 1 mark, 1 goal, and that goal was right off the ball from the top of the goal square after an undisciplined effort from Aiden Core. So really disappointing afternoon on what was a better day for the Saints. At least they were able to kick 100 points. And Jack Hayes, in his return,
looked good.
I thought outshone Max King. I thought he was a real target for them, and really helps with their second ruck division.
Let's get to Thursday night footy now. It's a showdown over in South Australia, where Adelaide, they just took their chances against Port, didn't they? They had a really good game. They kicked 8 straight from inside 30 metres. Compare that to Port. Port kicked 1-4 from inside 30.
Just opened them up. Put Adelaide dominant field position, but once Adelaide got through, they worked harder. They had a better system, and they had a plan to play against Port Adelaide, who really press in. They're a good stoppage team, so that forces you to press in. You want to hold the ball in your front half, which is a good strategy and method, but once you get through, they haven't been able to defend. They got to hold a defender deeper, or their defenders have to hold deeper to protect against this, because this was embarrassing, and it happened right from the first probably 5 minutes into the game, where Adelaide just went bang. They kicked 5 in the first quarter, and mate, I think they had 5 goals from 8 entries at one point. And we're seeing Port Adelaide's forward line, which was an issue as well.
Well, talk to us about Port, because it looks like they're doing everything right. Inside 50 is good, marks inside 50 is good, scores per inside 50 good. They're just letting themselves down with their accuracy. We saw that again on Thursday night, but are you worried by their form recently?
Well, they identified that in the off-season as a real area of improvement for them, their scoring accuracy. So they put in more work than they ever had in that area. So it's a real shame that that's been the result after all the work they put in pre-season and during the season. So something mentally is going wrong with the players that are having their shots. Now, there was some luck involved. They hit the post 3 times. Travis Boak kicked a goal that was overturned after they went back to the goal square. But every game this year, pretty much, that's been an issue for them. You kick 5-18, you can't win.
Yeah.
But in the end, it wasn't the difference in the game. I just thought Adelaide had more intent, they had a better method, and they were devastating off turnover.
Jake Saligo, it's been a breakout year for the young Crow, and he won the showdown medal. He was fantastic. 28 disposals, 10 tackles, 6 clearances. He's having really good.
Look at his tenacity. So look at it. We called for Adelaide to change things up when they started the year poorly, and all right, can Laird go out? Can we get Matt Crouch out a little bit? Can we inject some leg speed? Can that be Rankin, Rochelle? But it's been Saligo really that's been the mainstay in there, and every week he seems to get better. Now, he was a bit scrappy. I thought he got caught a couple of times with ball in hand, but that was the nature of the game. It was a finals-like game. There's the announcement of him winning showdown medal. Terrific honour for him. You can see the joy on his face, but what a season he is having, and you would love to be a teammate of his because he plays footy the right way. And on a week where Rory Sloane retired, and Rory said, I prided myself on playing footy the right way, and I think there's a fair bit of Rory Sloane about Jake Saligo.
Yeah, there certainly is. There's a few comparisons to be made there. Connor Rozee, he suffered that hamstring injury last week, comes back, plays in this one, gets subbed off late in the 3rd term, I think it was, but Ken Hinkley, after the game, taking the blame for Connor Rozee's injury.
Yeah, I made a mistake playing Connor Rozee tonight. That was clear. It was obvious. All the testing that we done, all the medical support we could get, all the information I could get was Connor was able to, and I seen it with my own eyes. He was actually able to run as fast as he needed to, kick as long as he needed to. But once fatigue set in tonight, that was clear. And you can be. I can try and hide behind that, but I'm not a coward when it comes to owning a mistake, and that was what it was.
So was that your call in the end?
Yep, my call.
Handled it perfectly, didn't he, after the game? But it is an unforgivable mistake, and it's not just Ken. I mean, there's more people that go into the coach that make that decision. Firstly, Connor, for putting his hand up and saying, I'm right to go. Now, he's a young captain, and all young captains are challenged with their leadership at times. So this is a real challenge for him. Yep, absolutely Ken, because he had final stay. The medical staff are declaring him fit, but it was a panic move. They said during the week that there was a signal on the scan that there was a small nick in the hamstring. As far as I've known, hamstrings are 3 weeks if there's a small nick in there. So, as I said, it was a panic move for a big game against an opposition that have the wood over you, and it was clear 10 minutes into the game that Connor Rozee wasn't right to go. So, as much as you can own the mistake, it was an unforgivable mistake to make.
Let's get to the rest of the round now. Plenty of games still to come in round 8. Richmond takes on Fremantle at the MCG to start Sunday's action. The Western Bulldogs face Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. Then it's the Q Clash, Sunday night, Brisbane against Gold Coast. We'll get to a Canes question. Really quick, Dennis Roberts wants to know, why do the Lions fall off late in quarters and games? Are they not fit, or is it mental toughness?
Mainly been the third quarters, which we highlighted last week. So it's leadership, it may be fitness, it may be a shorter preparation that after playing in the grand final. It could be all of those things. But for me, the leaders have got to stand up for Brisbane. In key moments, they've been poor, they look frustrated, but season on the line for them against Gold Coast tomorrow night.
Certainly is, Kane. Thanks for your work tonight, and we'll see you next week.